Well, can you believe it? Another year of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby, and once again joined by Kevin Hennessy. We've been doing this for a few years at this point. We've just witnessed some fantastic displays in the opening 13 round heats of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. Kevin, it was a great night's racing. It really did whet the appetite for the 5 weeks ahead.
It did. Look, I was only talking to Thomas O'Donovan in the car park before I pulled up, and I said it's such a cliche at this stage, but every year I come up here I say the same thing. Like it's one of the best on paper derbies that we've come across in a while, but every single year we have this round, and there's so many dogs in it, and you just want to see them perform. And we were treated to some wonderful displays tonight, and tomorrow night I'm sure we'll have a lot to live up to.
Yeah, it certainly will. Just in terms of the strength and depth, I think it's stronger than the last 25 years or so. I went back to a few of them, looked at the price at the start, and I just think this year's is just something special. We have so many dogs right down the list that can really run. Let's talk about some of them. The opening heat on the card, well, Mustang Jet was expected to get favourite backers off to a winning start, and he certainly did that. He ended up being an impressive winner in 29.43, but he had to work for it in the early yards. He came away well. He was given room. Toolmaker Wild edging inwards. Deadly Showtime went up well in the middle. Crypto Punk went up on the inside, but Mustang Jet drove the corner again on the outside and then cut across the bend. That could be worth keeping in mind for future rounds, but in the end ran out a pretty comfortable winner.
Yeah, and I don't mind a wide seat that cuts the bend. Like our Beach Avenue that we have, he turns right and gives away an awful lot of ground in doing so. A wide seat that can cut the corner, provided he's in front, can be worth its weight in gold, and he just about got around it tonight. Anyone that is connected with the dog, I'm sure, just held their breath for a split second, but once he cleared, he was gone. Like, this is a strong running dog. As the rounds go on, he'll have to show that early pace to clear from the outside. But if he does, there's not many in this derby, if any, that are going to catch him coming home. I met Dolores down in the stand around race 4 or 5. I think this is the only dog she has in the derby, and you can tell by Dolores that she's quite buoyant about her chances, and she thinks that this dog is only starting, that there's plenty left in the tank for this lad to improve. And 29.43 doesn't have to improve much to be doing the times that you'd expect from a derby winner, but he's a very young dog with lightly raced, lovely profile, and provided he can keep going up to the corner like that and maybe even improve, he's definitely one to keep firmly in the notebook.
Yeah, the one thing we will take out of it is the fact that the last time he ran here, he did fade home. He trialled better, and then tonight he's got a bit better. So it's clearly a progression. He's certainly not fully cooked, as you say, and there's better to come from him. In second spot, Owen Spice ran a big race for Declan McDonough, ran on strongly, just a month shy of his 4th birthday, continues to run very well. He's won 11 times in his career. You can see why he never gives up, and he ran right to the line to pip Crypto Punk, who had been left second on the opening corner and ran okay in third, but this was all about Mustang Jet.
Yeah, it really was. He was the one name from this heat that you'd put into your notebook, and yeah, Dolores seemed to be fairly confident this lad. There's plenty left, and like you said, he wasn't staying out particularly strongly recently, but I think just from the way she was talking now, I think Dolores really likes this lad.
Yeah, on to the second heat, and it didn't look like the time Mustang Jet was going to be beaten for a while, but Tullochraven, I know at the start of the night I was asked which one of the Shorty do you want to take on, and I put a big ring around Tullochraven, having just his 4th start, having been a bit disappointing in his trial stake at Limerick and well beaten here in his previous outing. He was being priced very much on his debut run in Tralee when he equalled the clock. I couldn't have got it much more wrong, to be honest. He took a bump at boxes, and you think, well, maybe, a young pup, this might affect him. He just charged into that corner, and I think the most taking thing about this was, like, he does a 17.20 to the 3rd bend, but then clocks 29.38. He hammers home. He does a 12.18 home. Not too many more. We're finishing faster tonight. He's a really strong runner for Pat Buckley, and I'm sure Pat is buoyant about this fella's display.
Yeah, look, I'd have been the same as you, Ian. I put a circle around this lad as a lad I'd take on as well, purely similar to yourself, just inexperience. The things hadn't fell his way the last time he was here. Then he went to Limerick, coming back to Shelbourne. For a young dog, you wouldn't have thought, you would have forgiven him if he'd have finished 3rd in a scruffy race and ran on to qualify. It was anything but. And I watched this heat right down beside the track. This dog has some size. He's some size up close. I know he's 76 pound weight, but he just has a presence about him. Like, when he left the box, he shrugged them off, and he had a lovely action, a lovely strike.
It was an 83 pounder he hit.
Yeah, look, he looked the biggest dog in that race down. He just has a lovely presence about him, and a gorgeous dog to look at. This was a serious run. Now, was there a whole lot of early pace in it? You'd question maybe not. However, like you said, from halfway what this young dog done coming home, it's unbelievable. And for a dog only having his 4th race, he's in the right hands. Pat has him. I'm sure Pat is buoyant going home with him. But this dog, early pace, I'm sure he'll be tested more on throughout the competition, but like you said, from halfway, if you're in against him or in front of him, you'll be looking out for him to see where he is. But he's only a September puppy who is eligible for the puppy derby and things like that going forward. He's definitely a dog with a huge future.
Yeah, the Foots in the Door Syndicate, I don't know who they are, but they're going to have some sport with this fellow in the future, and Pat Buckley will no doubt aim for big things with him. Second kingdom bound for Rory Bracken. I know Rory was excited to have a Derby runner, and he ran well in second spot, having won an A4 in his previous outing. Here he is, mixed it in Derby company in a good second, and back in third Flying Honours, who really wants another 300 or 400 yards, but did stay on stoutly back in third. But again, it's all about Tullagraven, a wide margin winner, and again 29.38 off a 17.20 at series running. On so to Heat 3. And this was a strange enough affair. One Time Only was the hot favourite. I've always thought he was a middle runner. From the inside, he used to drift out. Tonight from trap 3, he cut inwards. Cost him. He stumbled a bit after getting a bump or two, and he had to run hard to even move second down the back straight. In contrast, All About Ted, a Derby finalist last year, has not been flying this year. There's no question about it. Doesn't seem quite the same Greyhound, but this was a confidence builder. He got out in front. He made every inch of the running. He didn't really get away from them down to the third bend, but he was always going to outstay One Time Only, especially after the running he did to move second past Clampetani into that third bend. But Khalil Phelps came from out of the clouds. His problem is he's not a starter, and we've been waiting for him to start. They've tried 5.75, they tried a 7.50. He's tried a few distances, but tonight he showed immense pace and stamina to run on for second spot. But All About Ted, a good winner. But Khalil Phelps is a real eye catcher.
He is, and I don't know why, but we've had plenty of Khalil Phelps types in our kennel over the last couple of years, the likes of Beach Avenues and stuff like that can be frustrating at the boxes. And look, they are what they are, and the mother.
You keep going with them because something clicks, something does click.
Exactly, like Beach Avenue was running in A3s up here for 2-3 months, and couldn't win them, and eventually it clicked with him. But look, their mother made them that way. He's never going to be one that flashes from the boxes and leads around the corner, but they're brilliant competition dogs, because you genuinely, like, any trouble they get, they're still not knocked out. They can get up for third, and the dog for me to take from this race was definitely One Time Only, because we know what he can do from the front. We saw it in the BoyleSports Champion Stakes here. He was brilliant in the semi-final, even better in the final. When things go his way, he's exceptional. Tonight, everything went wrong. Now, was it the strongest heat on paper? Probably not. However, All About Ted, form over 5.75. Khalil Phelps, a 750-yard dog. Ballymac Joey, good, strong type dog. Everything went wrong for One Time Only tonight. I was concerned for him off the second bend that he might go backwards. He didn't. He knuckled down, and that for an early pacer who likes to dominate from the front, that's a massive thing, because when it does go wrong, you just want him to qualify. And that's what he done tonight. So if I was on One Time Only, or I was in Paul Horrig or Thomas Donovan's shoes tonight, I'm not one bit disappointed. He came out, he stepped left, lost his action slightly, took that bump, and everything went wrong from there on, but he's still in the hat next week, and when he gets it right at the boxes, there's very few in this derby that can match him to the corner on the form that we saw in the Champion Stakes.
Tommy is on the way home now, wiping his brow, going, do you know what, I'll take it. He showed lots in the feet, and I know how well he can go up to the corner, so let's forget about it, we move on. And simple as that. On to Heat 4. A couple of these moving on. Well, firstly, Stephen's Rock will be moving on for Shay Campbell, who is an absolute enthusiast. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. I know he probably danced home knowing Shay. He absolutely loves it. Stephen's Rock has always been a talented tracker. The traps are his issue, but the 550 run-up really suited him tonight. Rahamofo absolutely rocketed out of the boxes. The Oaks champion. She looked to have things, all going her way into the opening corner, but as she has been doing, I'm afraid, she takes a little wobble into the corner. It's like she's waiting for a little bit of traffic, and she found it because she let Stephen's Rock up at her inside. She then sort of got a little bit shook in herself, and she went back like a stone for a few yards and then ran on strongly, but in the end only finished fourth. She may qualify as fastest fourth, we don't know. Savannah Hero showed all sorts of pace. He missed the kick. He was the one that came in for money tonight, actually sent off favourite, believe it or not, after a big run last time out, but he missed the kick, but did show pace to qualify. But a fine display by Stephen's Rock. He's a talented greyhound, and I think it was it last year the other Stephen's dog Rocket ran so well in the opening round behind Explosive Boy. Well, on this occasion, Stefan's Rock came through and landed the spoils for Shea Campbell, and as I said, I'm sure he danced home.
Yeah, and I'm sure Shea won't mind me saying he was one of the first people I met when I came in tonight, and I've great sport with Shea, and like you said, he's always laughing, he's always in great form, and he always talks up his own. And when I met him coming in, he said to me, I think this lad's better than the lad I had in the Derby last year. That was rocket. We saw the run he done in the first round last year. You're right, behind Explosive Boy. And Stefan's Rocket was a brilliant dog, and I was quite surprised when Shea said it to me. He felt that this lad was a better dog, and he said exactly what you said, Ian. His Achilles heel is just a trapping. He said this lad has done serious runs in the dog over the 400-yard trip. He's lightning quick, early pace. It's literally just to get him out of the box. And Shea was quite buoyant that if he did trap on terms or anywhere close, that he would do a serious run to the third bend. And 17.23 to the third corner, it's not too bad. And 29.62 for a dog who I'm sure will get loads of confidence from tonight, being able to land a blow like that. I hope he goes a couple more rounds for Shea, and I'm sure that they'll be bouncing. Rahamofo definitely a little bit disappointed. I thought it was over after 2 or 3 strides. It just wasn't to happen for her. However, she is the Oaks champion, and they can never take that away from her. You just want to see her come back to her very best. And like you said, Savannah Hero, he's bred to be quick. He is very quick. He just needs to be a little bit more consistent at the box, in my opinion. And if he does that, if he can nail that down, I think he's an exceptionally talented dog who we could easily see in the quarter-final stages. Let you in a little secret. Well, go on. I nibbled at Stefan's Rock tonight. I got a few quid out of him. You must have been talking to Shea too. I just knew he had the gears. He ran obviously in my father's stake down in Escorthy. He's always been a dog I've liked, but again, I was waiting for the longer run up to the corner, and yeah, it worked out well tonight. On to the next heat, where Mr. Cronin was on the mark again. All About Annie. He had a good night, Peter, and All About Annie. Part Blake looked to have the race at his mercy. He popped out, he led into the opening corner, drifted off a little bit, let Scooby Duchess challenge off the second, probably never got her head in front. Part Blake went on again down the back straight, but he was never really shaking off Scooby Duchess, who is big down the back straight. And All About Annie, who I had put down as very much a stayer, was right on their heels in third spot, and into the third bend you knew that the leaders were in trouble, because this lady was going to hammer up the home straight, and that's exactly what happened. She absolutely devoured the ground up the home straight. Part Blake was beaten at the last bend. You could see that the tank was emptying. Scooby Duchess hasn't been getting home this year, so it was a massive run by All About Annie. 29.75. Well done to Peter Cronin, a double, and of course to Willie Rigney, who also had a half share in All About Ted. Yeah, and I think Willie, he might have had a few quid on himself, because there was plenty of roaring. 25 to 1 she's returned. Well, I think Willie had a few quid on, because the roaring that was going on when she got up. I know obviously a heat winner, but I think he might have had a nibble himself. But look, I can't lie, she's not a bitch I knew a whole lot about before tonight. Definitely one to go into the notebook. This lady from halfway really just took off. Part Blake could leave you scratching your head slightly. Whether or not the run again Hoffa here a week or so ago took a little bit out of him, because that was such a... Yeah, it's nearly 3 weeks now. We're the 19th, you know, it's the 30th. Yeah, it is 3 weeks. So I would say, just judging by Graham's modus operandi over the last few years, I think he left them shy. Maybe, if he thinks they have a relatively straight enough assignment, and I think there's better to come from Part Blake. I hope there's better to come from Part Blake, because we know how talented he is. Yeah, because that run here 3 weeks ago, that was some race. It looked like that battle between himself and Hoffa. Now I know he got beaten only half a length, but he came off the stand there, and I think it was Good Cody who was only another half length back in third, and I came off the stand and I thinking any one of those front three could win the Derby. Part Blake, I thought when he led it was all over, but like you said, All About Annie, not a lady I knew a whole lot coming into this competition about, but from halfway she really flew. Scooby Duchess, we know what she's like. She likes to get to the fence. She lacks a yard to the corner, but once she gets going, she's very strong. 29.75. I'd expect all three of them to go quicker next week. Yeah, so would I. I thought it was a fine run by All About Annie. Obviously things will get a bit tougher from now on in, but you'd expect better from Part Blake and Scooby Duchess in the coming weeks. On to Heat 6, and here there was a lot going on in this heat. Obviously the big two in the market were Romeo Magico and the other Colby. I think the other Colby was the dog for money. I think people were willing to take on Romeo Magico after the layoff, the fact that he hasn't been on the track since England. He's an exceptionally fast greyhound, but tonight was probably the night going to be to take him on, with three well met going up well, and the other Colby certain to cut inwards, or so we thought. In the end, the other Colby completely came out in his belly. You have to feel sorry for its connections. They only bought the dog recently with a
crack at the Derby in mind, and his chance was gone after one stride. Romeo Magico also completely missed the kick. He's a bad fifth into the corner. As it was Gort Kelly-Nestor, who was desperately looking not to make the final last year, led into the bend, but he was taken on the corner by Well Met, who has shown plenty of early speed in recent starts. Led off the second bend, went clear down to the third bend, and continues lead to the line, holding Romeo Magico, who did wonderful work to recover in second spot. For Lawrence Jones, it's a good winner. He was so unlucky not to have a Derby final.
Yeah.
Well, he did have a Derby finalist, but he couldn't take his place. He has Well Met still in the Derby. He's a nice type of dog. He's only a September 20, so young, very much open to improvement. Has good speed, real good speed. Romeo Magico, though, a very pleasing run in second.
I don't know what to say about this race. From start to finish, I really don't. From my reading of it, where I was standing, it looked to me like Magico went early. He charged the boxes, and I think Kobe, maybe that triggered him. And he
reacted to the movement.
Yeah, and I think he went, but I think he stopped himself from charging the boxes and almost seemed to go down on his left, because when the traps opened, like, he was on the. It appeared like he was down, because he had to literally stand up and then get going. Like, even if he did charge the boxes and got going initially, because the running he did, even to after he came out, and we know what he's like. He likes to dominate from the front. It's desperately unlucky for the connections there. Like, it's a worse Derby with him out, and that's the truth of it. He never got a clean run, and I'm sure he'll have future days to come. And then, like you said, I thought the race was over going into the first bend. I thought Gort Kelly-Nestor was going to win, and then
a year on,
yeah,
he's now 4 years of age. Probably engine isn't there anymore.
Maybe, but at his last run, like, he beat Tullygraven 7 lengths in Limerick. Now I know Tully got a bump at the bend. It was just a strange race all over. The dog to take from it was Romeo Magico. Similar to you, I would have been happy to take on Magico all day long. He definitely couldn't have done a whole lot. I know from Price's chatting Hammond at home that was a tough English Derby. They've been on the easy list since. I'm sure Magico has been in the exact same boat.
I think it's a trend we'll see throughout the opening round.
Yeah.
Even the likes of Balnabool Ed and Saturday night,
exactly.
you'd be wary.
Yeah. I think you would have had to have down tools with them dogs and try bring them through this competition. So I would have been happy to take on Magico, but he's run tonight. Like, he showed that he is a champion, because everything went wrong for him again, and the way he moved through dogs and past dogs there tonight, like, he wasn't beaten a whole lot. In 29.77, like, you could take 30 spots off his run very easily, and if he's doing 29.40 or 50 off his bench, he's a dog that I know not many have done it, but he could give it a lash to try and do back to back.
Yeah, he sure could. I have to mention Patient Crusader, who ran well in third, showing a bit of the old sparkle that he showed here around Shelbourne Park at the start of the year. Good to see him qualifying for his connections. Moving on to Heat 7, this was a great heat. You know, yeah. This was a wonderful run by first, second and third. Indeed, Good Cody won it, but the second fastest run on the night came from Ballymacfin in defeat. Good Cody, 16.94, 29.25. That's Derby winning form. Obviously, we don't want to be doing it in the opening round, but Pat Guilfoyle came off the track, said to our own Barry Call that I think he'll improve for it. That's a scary proposition. Ballymacfin is a seriously fast greyhound. He's a November 20. Yeah. November Whelp winning it last year, and I know a few people will be looking at the price of Ballymacfin in the morning. He has been cut by your own selves, BoyleSports. I've just been informed. Prices Jet, you know, for a dog that's coming off his bench, he ran a big race in third. I'm sure you're more than happy. I'm sure your father's more than happy. But this was about Good Cody, because that's 16.94 outstanding. So too is the 29.25.
Yeah, look, chalk and cheese from the heat before, where you were left scratching your head. The only dog tonight that I put down a very impressive mark beside here was the 4 dog, Ballymacfin, a dog whose form had been very good for November 20, but this was a different league. He was in with the big boys tonight, and he stood up. He really did. He went to the corner with Good Cody, who is the Sprint Cup champion, and for me, connections of Good Cody are absolutely over the moon tonight going home. Not because of 16.94, not because of 29.25. We know he can do all that. I didn't think he could trap from the inside. I've never saw him come out a trap one like he did tonight. It's a daunting prospect if he's able to trap from the inside like that. He is an inside seed. He's just never been a fluent trapper from in there. He did it tonight. He winged out tonight. If he can consistently do that from any box, he's as fast as there is in the Derby. But Ballymacfin, this dog just screamed to everyone tonight. It was so impressive. Like, he was only beaten about a length at the end, and he was close.
Exactly,
he was closing the whole way. He's probably 3 off Good Cody off the second bend, and like I said, Good Cody last week or 3 weeks ago ran against Hoffa and them and was running on behind them. He's not slowing off. 29.25 tells you that. But Ballymac was a monster from behind. Prices Jet over the moon. Couldn't be any happier. Trapped well, went up well. Like he was going up with 2 good early pacers, which I was over the moon with. Stuck to him. I knew he'd get slightly tired coming home. He probably did a little bit. He didn't. Well, not that he got.
He's doing sub 29.50.
Yeah,
it's not a bad run.
Exactly, but exactly. He normally has a bit of a kick at the 3rd and 4th bends. We saw it in English Derby in the early rounds where that wasn't there, but it will come with him again if he can keep his name in the hat. But Brian and Kathleen Murphy, like, and that at home, like, what more can you say about him? He's just such a brilliant dog.
Yeah, an absolute star for you. Coolavani Calvin won Heat 8, and this is a dog that's obviously well touted in this year's Derby. He was a very short price. I thought perhaps a fraction too short, and he ran well tonight. He's just a good, strong running greyhound. I don't know what his real strength is. He's normally a very natural starter. Missed the kick tonight, showed good early speed to take over from the aptly named Bullet from a Gun, who shot from trap 6. But Coolavani Calvin, once going to the front, was never going to be beaten. But Bullet from a Gun did keep it interesting, but he rallied, or he kept going all the way to the line. Coolavani Calvin, 29.59 at 12.38 home. So you'd imagine that there's more to come from him, because we know he does stay the 550 yards. We saw it in Toaster. He rallied up the home straight a couple of nights. It was a very pleasing run by Coolavani Calvin.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I think his best attribute is. Susie Sapphire was the best I ever saw during the first 2 bends in Shelbourne here. I don't think he's a Susie Sapphire, but you go back and watch his replay tonight, how he ran the first 2 bends. It was incredible. That's what got him to the front. He never missed a beat on the opening bend. It was poetry in motion watching him go around the first 2 bends, because he wasn't in front going in. Bullet from a Gun and flew the boxes, led up, but the way Coolavani Calvin ran the opening 2 bends, if you put him in one and he leads to that corner, he'll take a length out of any dog running in 2 bends. So for me, his bend running is such an asset. Now, he does like to be on the fence. We know that. He had his draw tonight. I think he can start considerably quicker than he did tonight.
Oh, he can. He's very natural at the boxes.
And I don't think he got away tonight as well as he did. But to lead up the likes of Skywalker Barry, Deadly Destroyer, the Bold Freddy, who possibly aren't at their very, very best right at this moment in time, it's still no mean feat. So after a disappointing run last time out here in Shelbourne, I'm sure Basil and Bernie Holy and Michael O'Donnell are going home very happy tonight. Bullet from a Gun, a dog again I didn't know a whole lot about, definitely goes into the notebook tonight. This dog showed lovely early pace in a strong heat and wasn't easing off. It was just a better dog on the night, beat him, but definitely one to keep an eye on.
A more encouraging run by the Bold Freddy. Gone off the boil a little bit in recent times, but that was more encouraging. He's looking more of a strong runner these days than he used to in his early days. He was all about early speed, but now a dog that just seems to do it all. But he'll want to be sharpening up, no question about it. But a much more encouraging run from him tonight. I think he's only beaten 4 lengths in the 3rd. You know, considering he never really played a part in proceedings,
and
it's not too bad. He might just sneak through on the fastest 4.
If he does, like, that's a big run from him, just because he hasn't been the dog last year. He looked an absolute airpen, a superstar. Things just haven't gone his way, but tonight everything went wrong. He didn't get to dominate, didn't get the lead. I was saying he'd probably finish last. He knuckled down to finish 4th. Whether it's good enough, we'll wait and see, but if it is, it was an encouraging run.
On to Heat 9, where Peter Cronin completed the hat-trick. Dex Guinness showing great early speed to lead from the start. Kilcolgan Zewis got the better of Emily's Jet into the corner to move second. And for all the world, I was absolutely certain Kilcolgan Zewis. I probably did do a bit of a premature call on it. I thought he was coming through to win. I thought he'd win comfortably, probably about a length off the final bend. Dex Guinness drifts off, and he doesn't really find up the home straight normally, but tonight he seemed to rally. I don't know if Kilcolgan Zewis actually did head him. He certainly did join him, but Dex Guinness rallied, got there, beating Kilcolgan Zewis. Emily's Jet back in 3rd. I don't mean any disrespect to them. I don't think any of the 3 are going to win a derby, but I thought the first 2 certainly ran well, and Emily's Jet is capable of better. He probably prefers a middle or an inside draw. Yeah,
I think he summed it up pretty well. I thought Kilcolgan Zewis was all over a winner down the back straight. This is a dog I really like, actually. I saw him running in the Champion Unraced in Kilkenny, and he looked a real nice type there. Looked a real powerful dog.
And then ran an exceptional race behind another holiday in the puppy stake.
Exactly,
here.
And he's a real nice profile. When you say the dogs probably wouldn't win a derby, but he was one that, if he took another step or 2 forward, you could throw into the mix. I'd say, look, if he's underprepared coming in, you could maybe excuse him a little bit, but it's an improvement on his last run. I just think that when a staying dog like him turns as close, you maybe expect him to go on and win. But I suppose you'd have to give credit to Peter's Dex Guinness, who, like you said, knuckled down coming to the line, really wanted it, had the right side, was on the outside, and that was the deciding factor. Emily's Jet, just we know what he can do from Toaster. His game is to blow you away in the first 5 strides. Didn't get to do that tonight, but I'm sure he's still one you want to keep an eye out in the draw. And the next night you wouldn't like that lad now lining up on your inside trying to clear him. No. He's difficult to do.
Certainly not. Dex Guinness, he's just one of those dogs, plenty of early speed.
Yeah.
If you have an early pacer, you don't want him around you,
No.
you know, because he will go up fast. Member of a very fast litter, brother to Coulivanny Shadow and a certain Coulivanny Hoffa.
Yeah.
That's the perfect segue into Heat 10, because Coulivanny Hoffa, the clock wasn't there at the finish. I'm surprised. It was 29.56 into the opening corner. He was absolutely electric. He left these dogs standing, and yes, there probably was a lack of early speed in the race, but he could only lead as far as he did. He was nearly 5 clear into the opening corner. It was stunning. Stayed in middle of the wide path. Didn't find an awful lot home. 12.46 home. That would suggest to me that he hasn't been off his bench since July 30th when winning here in that race you mentioned earlier on, beating Park Lake and Good Cody. That form worked out generally well because Good Cody was fastest heat winner tonight, but I think Coulivanny Hoffa is very much a Derby challenger. Michael O'Donovan will be very pleased with tonight's display.
Yeah, he will, and look, in the Derby there's always less wides than there is inside seeds, and if you have a wide seed who can go to the corner like Coulivanny Hoffa, 9 times out of 10 you're going to stay out of trouble, and that's such a big deal. Is he faster than Good Cody if the both of them produce their best in solos? For me personally, and I might be wrong, I would just favour Good Cody, but you know Coulivanny Hoffa 9 times out of 10 is going to get 6. You know he's going to get a clear run to that first corner. You know he's going to stay out of trouble most nights. So that swings it back probably in Hoffa's favour. But yeah, like you said, I thought it was a quicker run, but times to me don't really, I don't ever get too caught up on the clock.
Certainly not in the first round.
No, definitely not. And I trust my eye more than the clock most nights, and you had to be blown away. Like, you can say that there mightn't have been a lot of early pace. That story's cash out to me. It's jumped out off the page for me the last 2 or 3 nights I've seen him running. I wouldn't, if someone's looking for a dog at a big price, I wouldn't be against sticking a tenner each way on him. I think he's a monster. I think he can go plenty far enough in this Derby. Lacks maybe a yard to the bend, but he's an exceptionally talented greyhound. Tulloch's surname, it just all went wrong for him tonight. He never got to get going. Carl's dog Karen Toole's got a decent card, lovely pace all around, but Hoffa just blew him away to the third bend. 17-10 later on the card. It got quite colder. If you're connected to him or you're on a man to post, job done, tick, well done, brilliant run.
I'm not one to compare dogs, and you know, but from the same kennel, there is a touch of Lohill Blake about him, isn't there?
Yeah, all day long. The way he goes to that corner, Blake blew them away, going up on the outside and cutting the corner, and yeah, you're spot on. There's a real, maybe a different colour dog, but there's real similarities to be drawn there.
There sure is. On to the next heat, where Kildare, the English Derby runner-up, made a pleasing debut at Shelbourne Park in defeat. Couple of concerns. Firstly, he did blow up a little bit, and he edged inwards from trap 5. You know, are they going to reassess the middle seeding? Obviously, the inside seed or the draw perhaps cost him the English Derby final because he drifted off the corner to the middle of the track. Tonight, he just edged inwards slightly in the first few strides. It's just a concern going forward, but once he did straighten up, he quickened well. Like Disco Pants had got the jump on him. He went around Disco Pants on the opening corner, looked natural, looked really at home here at Shelbourne Park. Went on by 2 or 3 lengths, but we know Drubby's Nice One is extremely strong, and she came through in the closing yards to land the spoils from Murty Lahey and John Coleman. I think I met John in the lift on the way up at the start of racing, and he was buoyant. He was delighted with himself with the Drubby's Nice One and Drubby's Gloss. He says, sure, how could I not be happy? Well, I'll tell you what, if he was happy before racing, he's delighted after racing, because she once again proved that she is more than capable of challenging the very best and giving them a beating as well. She got up in the line to beat Kildare. I think a very pleasing run for first and second. I'd like to think that Kildare will come on considerably for the run.
Oh, he will. He has everything, doesn't he? He just is an absolute joy to watch. He's brilliant, brute early pace. For a young dog like who's had that's his 9th race in Ireland tonight and 6 in, you're talking about 15 races in his career, a Kirby finalist, an English Derby finalist, and now straight into the Irish Derby. He's been literally thrown in at the deep end every night, and he's won more races than he's got beaten, and that tells you all you need to know. Look, I trust Peter and Aidan. They're longer in the game than I am, and they know more about the dogs than me. For me, he is an inside seed. I think maybe Toaster just threw them off.
He's a trap 3 inside seed.
Yeah, and I think Toaster may have thrown them off a little bit more, but Toaster is unlike any other track. Like the bends are different completely. At no point in Limerick, the best way I can word it in the Kirby, no point in Limerick did he strike me as a middle seed or that he was seeded wrong. Back on Irish style, I think maybe he is more of an inside seed than a middle, but I trust the lads to make the right call there. He definitely edged inwards. If I had him, I would be over the moon. I didn't mind him getting picked up one bit. We saw thought in the English Derby I think he was lucky to qualify in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, or things didn't go right for him in an early round anyway, and he just improved with every run. A young dog like him, you could guarantee that the engines have definitely been switched off with him since the final in England, and he's definitely going to come on. Lovely run. He'll match anything to the third pen when he's fully tuned up. Droopy's nice one. I've said it a couple of times. I think she's as good a lady as there is in the country. I'd love to be connected with her. Very seldom runs a bad race. The better the race, the better she runs. She can mix with any of them. Disco Pants in trap 1. The first time I've seen him trapping since nearly Limerick. A brilliant run from him to the corner, but he'll need to be a little bit stronger to keep progressing.
He's just a nice dog. He is that few yards shy, there's no question about it. I just want to mention one there. She mightn't have qualified in fourth, Ballymacdrama. I don't know what the clock would suggest, but she's only January 21. I really like this one.
There you go.
Oh, she's very, very strong. She's very strong. She'll make a stayer in the future for Liam Dowling. Just keep an eye on her, whether it's in the Derby. I don't know if she qualified or not, as I said, but she'll turn up in the Juvenile Derby. She'll make a wave or two. She's a very, very fast lady. Very strong. Mightn't have the early speed, but we'll see. But again, just keep her in the notebook. Moving on to Heat 12, and why don't you take it from here? Heat 12 was a strange one. I was sort of watching Ballymore Border in the early yards, and Ireland's Own coming into the race was always going to cause him a problem. He came as a reserve into trap 5. Barefoot Supremo was off the bench, up 2 pounds tonight. Good trial, but tonight just never really got racing. It was one of those races where there never seemed to be room for any dog to get loose. I know every time Ballymore Border went to run, he got held up, and he ended up finishing 4th. Probably didn't qualify because it's one of the slower heats, but in the end, Bella Medina Roxy, who has always been a very talented lady, she won an exceptional style here at the Winter Racing Festival last year. It was good to see her showing a bit more zip about her, and tonight she won. I don't know how she won. She got there. She led down the back straight. Ardford Josie had taken a flyer, but in the end, Bella Medina Roxy got there for Kevin Loughnane and Stephen Pennell. 29.97. They're in the hat. That's the main thing.
That is it. And it was just a really strange race. Ardford Josie's a bitch that ran in the Tralee unraced at the start of at the end of the year, and she looked an airplane, but she was all a stayer. I think this race was summed up when she was a length or two clear after 5 straights. I had to check was it a reserve, but it was just a really funny race. Supremo never really seemed to be able to land a blow. He never really got up to full go, but he again is very, very rusty and should come on for the run. But Ballymedina Roxy, she's one that hasn't backed up that winter festival running, but that happens with bitches sometimes. They go in and out of form, I think anyway, a lot more frequently than the dogs do, and she clearly wasn't at the best of her A game, but tonight she brought somewhere back, and I'm sure confidence will play a part for her. Ballymore Border, a little bit disappointed. I know you've mentioned on occasion he's a little bit of an enigma, that when he gets it right and gets it going, he's brilliant.
He so rarely gets it right at boxes, though. That's the problem.
And that is the problem, and he didn't tonight, and unfortunately if he does go out, it's unfortunate. But Ireland's Own reserve coming in run well. All three of them have to step up big time in round 2. I'd be hopeful Supremo. I'm fairly confident he will do that, but
you're right.
I know you put the mockers on him, putting him up anti-post.
I think he's a dog that will be obviously better for the run, but I think he's also a dog that's much better in better company. I think he likes to get a sight at dogs in front of him, and with the faster dogs out front, you get that chance to get up to full speed, and I think that's what he needs. He needs to be absolutely charging down the back straight at the fast dogs. In fairness, I'd be a fair bit of overweight on your back, no question about it. While Heat 12 was muddling a fair, so too was Heat 13, because Drumridge Bulick came in as a reserve and just sort of got in the way a little bit around the opening 2 bends, stayed off the fence, and Soares Rex had made a flying start, it seemed to me, but then took a stumble, and all of a sudden his derby is in jeopardy. He showed great pace to get back into the equation, into third down at the third bend, but picked up on the line by Kumakua. As all of this is happening, Fernandez has shown massive pace on the outside to go to the front down the back straight, but as I could see in the corner of my eye in the commentary box, a certain Kevin Hennessy at the door screaming him on. Beach Avenue was absolutely motoring into that third bend. I'll be honest, he never raised the gallop the last 2 nights. It just didn't happen for him, but we know never to write him off. And tonight, when he appeared down at the third bend, I think we all knew he was going to get up. As fast as Fernandez is, you don't hold Beach Avenue when he's moving at speed at the third bend.
Yeah, look, and we've had conversations at home and even with the lads that it looked like given his last 2 runs, that this was it. Like
The swan song.
Yeah, it was talk whether you even ran him in the Derby.
He must have overheard you.
Yeah, he must have. And like I was even looking at him going like, one more run, he's back to mini open. Maybe try win a mini open stake, and that'd do. And then we threw him into the hat, and I knew off the second bend. Now Fernandez is a fair target, and I didn't know he'd definitely catch him.
Fernandez has a 30-70 on his card for 550 or for 575. Now that was rated slow that night. It could have been rated another 20 spots slow. Like, that could have been a track record breaking run that night.
But there's just something about old Rory that I saw him off the second bend, and his stride was back. It looked like the old Beach Avenue, and I just knew at the second bend whether he won or not, I knew he was going to put up a fair performance. And look, it's brilliant. Like what more can you say about him? He's been poked from pillar to post. He gets trouble most nights. He has to come from behind. He's picked himself off the ground. He's put on some spectacular runs here. I'm just over the moon for the Healy's and for the dog. That look, whatever happens, it probably is his swan song, and for him to go and win a heat of the Derby, it's just a pity Austin, he's away at the moment, he wasn't here tonight. But yeah, look, it was brilliant to watch him doing it. 29.71. He'll have to improve to win the Derby, but look, he's still there. And Fernandez, take nothing away from him. Like when Rory's on a going day and he trapped reasonably well and turned reasonably close and got into full stride, he just got up to close Fernandez in the last couple of strides. It was a nice run from him. Look, if you're connected to Sordrex, he's the dog that everyone is focused on. You're checking the times, you're checking to see is he going to be one of the 18 fastest forwards, because again, similar to the likes of the other Kobe, it's a better Derby with the likes of them dogs in it. We want to see the best dogs in it, and he is one of the best dogs. He's been a brilliant dog so far in his young career. It just didn't happen for him tonight. He got a little bit of trouble, and like when you're in with Fernandez and Beach Avenue and those types of staying dogs, you really need to get loose on
and
them.
Kumakua, who's turned into a bit of a stayer. He ran on really well to pick up third.
Yeah, and when you have an early pace dog and he doesn't lead those types of dogs, that's when your Derby can just be out the door in one night. So look, fingers crossed for connections. Sordrex can stay in, but yeah, I'm over the moon without Rory. He's there again.
Yeah, 13 heats, another 13 tomorrow night. Yeah. We have 44 races still to go in the Derby. A lot to happen, but it couldn't have been a much better start.
No, it couldn't, and like there's so many talking points, so many connections, and it's very, very early. There's dogs that ran below par tonight that in the next round will just take off. So look, I'm over the moon, whetted the appetite again, and bring on tomorrow night. Yeah,
I'm not giving away any secrets here, but it is nearly the 20th already. We're nearly into Saturday here at Shelbourne Park, but as you can tell, we both can really look forward to, well, the remaining 13 heats of the opening round of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. We have 5 weeks ahead of us. I can't wait for it, and I'm sure Kevin is very much the same way.